Well, good morning, folks. It's now about 8:30 on the morning of Sunday, the 15th of March. Happy Mothering Sunday to those of you that celebrate it, and happy birthday to my wife, as it's her birthday today as well. Isn't she lucky? Anyway, normally on a Sunday morning I would be with my grandson, take him to church, etc. But with it being Mothering Sunday today, his mum has asked if he can stay with her today, which is fair enough, not a problem. So I'm jackless today, so I'm going to take advantage of that by doing a couple of hours down here on the plot this morning. Now we are going away later on today for a week, so it's important to get on and get as much done here as possible today, because things are moving on quickly now. Spring is coming. All the grasses, as you can see, are coming up. The stuff that I've covered over, all the black fabric is still down there. The weed fabric is doing well. Obviously, I mean, as you can see from this, that there's lots and lots of stuff still underneath it. I mean, I can jump up and down on it and you can still see that the grass underneath hasn't gone yet, but it has only been a couple of weeks. It's going to take months before this goes down, but at least it's holding it. The grass shouldn't be growing much underneath there now. It will be growing some, obviously, because it doesn't just stop automatically when you take away the light. It does continue growing for a short while, but hopefully not for too long. Now, the plans for today. I've got a couple of beds here which are empty. These beds are going to be weeded, and then I'm going to cover them over with some of this weed fabric. Now, that's not going to be to kill the weeds, but it's going to be to suppress any new ones from growing once I've weeded it. I really don't want to do the same job 3 times over. It will also hopefully warm the soil slightly, because these are the beds I'm going to be planting in first. I'm planning on putting my broad beans at the back there. I've got a couple of dozen broad beans which I'll show you in a second. So they're going to go in the back there. And then in front of those, the front half of the bed, I'm going to put my French climbing beans this year. And this year I'm going to be growing Cobra. The purple ones I had last year were nice, they were okay, but they didn't give the classic round shape bean which I was hoping they would. You know, the ones you get buying the shops in the packets. And that's what I was after. We've had them before with Blue Lake and they were lovely. Cobra looks like the same sort of shape of bean, which that's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to be growing Cobra this year. So the back bed is going to be, well, the back bed, you know, angling towards me is going to be broad beans at the far end, and then we're going to have Cobra at this end. This bed had the Brassicas in it last year. I think this year I'm going to use it for more onions. I was going to put onions at the far side, but I decided against that because I'm going to be moving the beds I was going to put them in to put the greenhouse on. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to take all this out. I'm hopefully getting some compost after I come back from holiday, and I'll fill this bed up a little bit, because as you can see it's quite down. It has settled quite a lot. When I did this first, it was probably 3 inches up the side. It's now to the bottom of the boards, so that needs to be filled up, and then I can plant some of my onions and my shallots into it. I've got some shallot sets in the Polytunnel which I'll show you in a moment, which are but starting to grow rather. At home I've also planted up some seeds of shallot zebrune, which has been recommended by Dan on the Allotment Diary channel. If you haven't seen him, get over there and watch, it's fantastic. He's been a great inspiration to me, he really has. He's really explains things well, and it's in a friendly style, and it may be from Yorkshire, but it's close enough. The other thing I'm going to try and do is weed this bed out. This is a square foot gardening bed, as it was. Try and get all the weeds out. They come out very easily because they're not very deeply rooted in here. The soil is lovely. The main problem is underneath that it's going to be difficult to put the black fabric. I'm going to try, but I'll feed it through underneath the wires and then spread it out, and hopefully that should be fine in there as well, and that should hold it. Everything in here is coming out. I've got a couple of tiny things here which I might try and transplant, but I don't know yet. This bed I'm going to leave for the time being, the Brassica bed. No point going anything at that because there's still stuff in there which has to be harvested. This bed is going to be cleared and black plastics as well, or weed fabric, or whatever you want to call it. This bed, the top half where I grew the sweet corn, same thing again. Still got some parsnips in the ground. I counted 8 or 9 of them the other day when I was looking at the leaves sprouting on top again. And so what I'm going to do with these is leave the parsnips in the ground because they store better that way. I'm not going to get those out. I'll just simply leave that uncovered for the time being. If I get round to it, I'll then have a try at this bed. This is just a monster of a mess. It really is. There's grass, there's everything in there. And all I've got in here at the moment, crop-wise, is I've got fruit bushes and I've got my monster purple sprouting. I think that's going to come out because it's looking like it's had its day. It's dying back. It's not doing so well. The frost has got to it. If I don't get a chance to bring it out today, it's not a major problem. It's one of those things. We'll sort it. Right, move down a little bit. Now I came down yesterday just for an hour because I only had an hour in the morning between like 8:15 and 8:45, and I basically weeded the strawberry bed. This bit here was full of old leaves and all sorts of rubbish in here. Weeded it back. As you can see, the weed fabric I put down on this was the cheap thin stuff that you get from Wilkinson's. It's all I had last year. I put it down, it did its job for last year. That's now gone. So this is going to be replaced this year with proper stuff. So all the plants will be being dug up and then replanted through the black plastic. I also started on this bed. I got, as you can see, about halfway. That's what it was like beforehand. That's what it's like now. A lot of the strawberries in here appear to have gone. Not sure why, but it could well be that they were covered over with too much stuff. I'll have to get some more anyway. I also did a little bit of weeding on this side, took the big lump of grass out by the side of the rhubarb, and I swear that's grown since I was here yesterday. It looks bigger anyway. That's stepdad Ken's rhubarb he sent me from home. Didn't have room for it where he was, and he wanted to keep it growing, so he asked if we could plant it in here. So the two at the back, they are 3 years old this year. This one's about 5 or 6 years old, and it's looking really good. And that one, again, is about 3 years old. Altogether, not doing so bad. Right, with us going away, I brought my seedlings down here to put in the polytunnel. Basically on the principle that at home they get too warm. They don't need the heat anymore now they've germinated. These are all my tomatoes. I'm growing 10 varieties of tomato this year, I'm trying to. Starting from the left hand side, I've got green zebra, yellow stuffer, black cherry, Ildi, which is like a yellow one, Marmand, orange banana. Now, sorry about that, ran out of memory on this thing, but I'll try again. After the orange banana, I've got Italian plum tomato, then Italian baby plum tomato, garden pearl, and moneymaker. So plenty of seedlings coming up. I've got at least 2 on all of them. Marmand is a little bit late to germinate one of them, so it's only tiny. But rather than have them at home where they can dry out, I'm going to bring them down here, give them a good watering, stick them in the polytunnel. And the atmosphere inside the polytunnel, with having a damp floor all the time, which I'll show you in a second, is good enough so that hopefully these will not need another watering or nothing major between now and coming back next week, because we're still fairly cool. I've also brought down my broad beans. As you can see, they're not doing so bad. Some of them are a little slow in germinating. They're in the root trainers, and what I've done is I've planted 15 bunyards exhibition, because that's all I had space for, so there's 1 cell empty. Of the 15, 14 have germinated. I've just got this one here in front which hasn't come up yet. May never come up, but I've got 14. I wanted 12, so I'm happy with that. Then on this side I've got the crimson flowering broad bean, so I'm putting it in focus there. Again, I planted 16 of these, and at the moment I have got, oh, there's one coming up there as well, so let me see, I've got only one missing, so I've got 15 at the moment, because that one's just coming through. One on this end, nothing there yet, so I've got 15 out of 16. So, not too bad, 14 out of 15 and 15 out of 16, not a bad germination rate. I'll just show you inside the polytunnel very, very quickly. Last year's stuff which I still haven't got rid of, I'm really remiss on that. They're going today as well. But as you can see, it rained yesterday morning and I've still got 2 inches of water in certain parts of my polytunnel. It's just like a swamp in there, I'm not even bothering going in there. Those are my shallots which I put in the tray a week ago. Some of them are starting to sprout, as you can see, and they're not looking too bad. A few trays of herbs which have survived the winter. Mostly, they need trimming and clearing out all the rubbish. Then at the back there, I've got a tray of onions, and in the little poly thing, I've got my chitting potatoes,